Hi, welcome to our daily encounter. In the last chapter of Nehemiah, Nehemiah chapter 13, we have Nehemiah coming back after he had left for a while, and he finds things out of sorts. The people had strayed away from the covenant that they had made with God. Yesterday we talked about the fact that they had consecrated themselves to the Lord, to walk in the ways of the Lord in accordance to His commandments. And there were specific things that they mentioned that they were going to do in turning back to the Lord and in consecrating themselves to Him. And we find a lot of those things being violated in Nehemiah chapter 13. So just a few chapters over, we see the people already violating their previous commitment. And we made comment on this in a previous devotion of how many times this occurs. And it becomes so predictable. These guys, the Israelites, with good intentions and with a good heart, they'll consecrate themselves and make a covenant with God. They'll even put it on paper and sign it, but they never are able to keep what they have committed themselves to. And when we look at our lives, before we're too harsh on them, we got to admit that we see the same thing. Maybe something happens in our life that causes us to refocus and turn back to the Lord, and we commit ourselves to Him and say, Lord, I'm not going to follow after the things that I've done before. I'm recommitting myself. I'm consecrating myself to you for your service and to follow your ways. But give it a day or two, a week or two, a month or two, and before we know it, we've slipped right back into what we were doing before. And this can become a continuous cycle in our lives, just as it was a continual cycle in Israel's history. So what can we do to help us break out of that? Well, the same thing that the Israelites had, the Jews had here in Nehemiah 13. We need people who will hold us accountable. Nehemiah shows strong leadership in this chapter as he rebukes the people and as he goes in and expels Tobiah from the temple. Basically just throws all of his stuff out and tells them to clean that room. Tobiah was not supposed to be in that room in the temple. He has them restore the tithes. He has them also restore their commitment to keep the Sabbath. Also, he deals with the mixed marriages. All of these different matters are handled by Nehemiah, and he handles them with firmness and with exactness, and with very, very strong leadership. And we need Nehemiahs in our life. We need people who will correct us when we begin to stray. Because what typically happens is that we begin to justify ourselves in the things that we are doing. Or maybe we might get lax in seeing the things that we're doing as being as serious as they truly are. And it takes a lot of times a person from the outside looking in to show us, look, what you are doing is not in accordance to God's will for your life, and it needs to be corrected. Galatians chapter 6 gives us instructions in connection to this. In verse 1 it says, Brethren, even if anyone is caught in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, each one looking to yourself, that you too will not be tempted. And so those who are spiritual have the responsibility of correcting those who are straying, those who are waning in their faith and in their commitment to the Lord. And we need people in our lives who will correct us. But at the same time, we need to be those people who will hold others accountable, who are not afraid to correct people who are mistaken, who are going astray from the Lord. To do it, of course, as Galatians 6 teaches us, do it in a spirit of gentleness, and to be careful that we don't get led astray in their sin, but nonetheless to still bring to light those things so that people can correct it. Isaiah 53 talks about how we like sheep have all gone astray. And there he's pulling from the nature of sheep. Sheep have that tendency to just wander. If you don't have a shepherd guiding them, keeping them with the flock, they'll just wander off into the wilderness and get lost. And we need shepherds who will redirect us, because we're like sheep. We will go astray if we're just left to ourselves. We need people to help us. And so this is the importance of being a part of a church, part of a body of people who are committed to the Lord, who have committed themselves, and who hold each other accountable, and that have strong leaders who holds the members of that church accountable. Not so that we can be harsh or mean to each other or to be judgmental towards each other, but just so that we can help each other in this struggle, in this walk that we have before us, and trying to serve the Lord and trying to walk in a way that is pleasing to Him. It's in the spirit of being helpful, not being judgmental or harsh. And so this is our thought for today. What are some people in your life that hold you accountable? Do you have anybody in your life that holds you accountable? Is there anybody that you know who would be a good candidate for being a person who would hold you accountable? And look at it from the other side. Are you the type of person who can correct people when they are wrong? When you see things wrong, maybe with your spouse or your children, or maybe with other members of the church, take it upon yourself to go to them, not go to everybody else, but go straight to them and talk to them about it in a spirit of gentleness and a spirit of love, so that you can help them just as you would hope that they would help you if you were going astray as well. So let's just think about these things today. I thank you guys for listening in. Hope you guys have a great Memorial Day. Love you guys. God bless.